you know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
I want to emphasize that the goal of our work is to help Guatemalans find hope at home. At the same time, I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come. The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border. There are legal methods by which migration can and should occur. But we, as one of our priorities, will discourage illegal migration. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
The yards here at Howard University are now empty. Tens of thousands of supporters of the vice president came to hear what they hoped would be a victory speech. But as state by state was called throughout the evening, people trickled out. And then finally, Cedric Richmond, the chairman of the campaign, said that the vice president would not be coming. She'll be delivering what is almost certain to be a concession speech later on Wednesday. This is a disappointment of epic proportions as one battleground state after another fell into Donald Trump's hands. Supporters here were crestfallen, almost in disbelief. This will take a lot of time to sort out what happened during this 107-day campaign.
There you have it on the campus of Howard University, HU, the Mecca, Kamala Harris's alma mater. The bourgeoisie aspirationals left the yard that night quite crestfallen. They are not going to get their opportunity to sing their version of "My President's Black, My Lambo Blue." And there's a lot of blame to go around, but not the usual suspects. Well, yes, actually, in fact, totally the usual suspects, but they had some additional, let's say, accomplices on this election. Welcome, everybody, to Burn It Down with Kim Brown post 2024 presidential election, where again, this nigga Donald Trump continues to astound me, not in a way that I find admirable, though I do find it impressive. This motherfucker Trump is about to be the president again. Everybody, he's about to be president a fucking again, okay? And for all of the hand wringing and pearl clutching and hair pulling and angst and anxiety that I'm hearing being emoted, particularly from Black folks who were themselves Kamala supporters, we need y'all to relax. We need y'all to calm down, because all of the fascistic things that concerned you about a second Trump presidency, not only have they continued to occur under Joe Biden, but they would have continued to go onward under a president, Kamala Harris. Did black people cease to get killed by the police during Joe Biden's administration? Absolutely not. I point you to Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who got murdered by Florida police sheriff's deputies. I point you to the list is long. The only difference is black people didn't take to the streets in the same ways that they did in 2020 after the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. The murders never abated. The murders of black folks by police, and not just black folks, but here we are on a black platform, so those are our priorities. But in addition to look at the little list of issues that Kamala dropped the ball on when it comes to the genocide in Palestine. The Biden administration failed to force Benjamin Netanyahu into any sort of concrete ceasefire agreement, all the while continuing to be Netanyahu's chief armorer, arming the genocide, facilitating the genocide, endorsing the genocide, maybe not from the podium of the State Department, but certainly from the Department of Defense deliveries to fucking Israel of bombs, of missiles, of all kinds of things that they later and have currently turned onto the Lebanese. I'm going to break down a little bit and not too much, because y'all know I ain't the breaky downy. my niggas on YouTube be breaky downy. I ain't breaky downy. You want breaky downy, you got to go to Saturdays with Renee, which I certainly encourage you to do. Black Liberation Media, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Renee Johnston gonna give it to you, okay? Kim Brown gonna give it to you a little different way, but when you look at this, hold on. Wait, let me run through let me finish running through my litany of issues real quick. So you had the genocide issue. You have the issue of immigration, which Kamala just showed and proved to you right there that, hey, she ain't no different than the Trump administration, Biden Harris, that is. Policies, only thing they weren't talking about overtly was mass deportations, but they just was doing them shits. Ain't no need to talk about it, be about it. I mean, and I'm not encouraging any administration to be about it, but my point is, part of the reason why Biden Harris weren't thumping their chest regarding mass deportations, because it's just some shit they was doing. They didn't need to inform everybody. Fuck it, they just did the shit. All right. No difference there between Harris Trump on the issue of immigration, by and large, though I guess she's not talking about concentration camps. And again, I'm gonna get to all that in a second, because I know what Trump is saying, but there's what he says and what he's able to do. And I think he's going to feel some likely economic pressure not to enact these mass deportations, but I'll get to that a little later. In terms of, would you do anything different from the Biden presidency? By and large, she said no. She also said she wasn't going to do anything in particularly special for Black people, but then came out with the list of action items she intended for Black men, which included the federal legalizing at the federal level of marijuana, because you niggas love weed, which is a wild thing for a Black president to suggest or to use as an enticement. Number one, Obama should have descheduled or rescheduled marijuana at the federal level back in 2016 before he rolled out of office. That was some shit Obama could have done. That's some shit Joe Biden could have done on day one. So the audacity, and it's very insulting, actually. It should be insulting to Black voters that Kamala Harris would hold that out or dangle that as some sort of carrot issue to get Black people, or especially Black men, to her side. Y'all motherfuckers, y'all could have did the shit, but y'all chose not to. Also, the issue of cryptocurrency, again, I don't know how much Black men's wealth or disposable income, personal disposable income, is tied up in the crypto market. But that seemed like a very niche and wayward issue to attribute or to ascribe to Black men in particular, and put it out there as though it's helping any fucking body, or at least as though it's helping even Black men en masse. It absolutely would not. So again, whatever her black agenda wasn't serious to begin with, right? And the disingenuousness of the Democratic Party for Kamala Harris to have one of her talking points be that she's here to create, she wants to have what did she call it? Equal opportunity economy. Like our good brother Dr. Jared Ball says, no, bitch. Oh, he didn't say bitch. I said no, bitch. Here come Jared quote. We need guarantee of outcomes. We don't need guarantee of opportunity. Oh, well, the government is not in the business of picking winners and losers, say Democrats and Republicans. The fuck they aren't. Yes, they absolutely are. When they award grants, when they award government contracts, what the fuck you mean? When they green light research and training and all this shit, like the government absolutely guarantees outcomes way more than opportunity. Or yes, guarantees outcomes and picks winners and losers for those that they want to win, correct? And for those that they want to lose on the other side of that. So hold on. So wait, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself. I did smoke before I came here. What's up, y'all? You guys in here? Everybody feeling all right? I'm seeing the boxes come up. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to get to your super chat acknowledgments here momentarily. But I just wanted to say this, you guys. Democrats lost. They need to blame themselves. Kamala was terrible on the issues. She just was. She made it a point to appeal as Biden did before her, and to a certain extent as Obama did before them. Clinton also, this seems to be the modern Democrat way. Instead of reaching left, instead of trying to actually pull progressives and enact progressive policies on healthcare, on the environment, on labor, on working class issues, on actually making and creating and sustaining affordable housing for all, childcare for all, instead of reaching left to implement these particular policies and issues into the Democratic platform, they keep reaching right and reaching towards the center, and seem to be truly despondent that they have missed, these Trump voters who were once Obama to Trump, back to Trump. It's weird. And it's like, let them crackers go. Okay. And if some of them happen to be your MAGA TOs, and I don't know what the myriad of different language words for the Asian uncles, for the South Asian uncles, if those people want to identify and vote conservatives, you have to let them go. Okay, let them go do that. So many of what could potentially be Democratic base voters, just all those votes just get left on the table. And when we're talking about somewhat close elections, though this particular election, I think so far, when I last checked the popular vote tally for the 2024 presidential election, Trump had like 73.5 million to Kamala's 69 or so million votes. So we're only talking a few million votes here. But hold on, let me point something out as it pertains to the electoral map very briefly, and to the so-called blue wall states, that were must wins for Kamala. Will, you got that map handy? Throw that map up. Show everybody that America is back on the rag. Pardon phrasing. Sorry, but America's back on the rag. That shit look bad. Whew. That shit look bad for Kamala. So she lost Georgia, where Biden had previously won Georgia. She lost Wisconsin. Democrats had previously won Wisconsin. She lost Michigan, also losing Pennsylvania, and some other states previously held by Democrats, but those are probably the most consequential ones. And I had a peek at the latest Michigan popular vote results, because I was curious about Michigan in particular. It's funny that some of them states actually was closer than anticipated, including Virginia. Again, I'm still stuck off the realness, to be the infamous, you heard of us official Queensbridge murderers. Sorry. My bad. Shout out to Mob D. So looking at the Michigan vote really quick, let me tell y'all how close this shit was, because it didn't look close on election night. The numbers I remember seeing when I went to sleep was like 52 to 47. I said 5 points. That's an ass whipping. But those numbers have since narrowed considerably, but Trump still being the victor. So percentage wise, Trump captured 49.7% of the Michigan vote. 49.7% went to Trump. 48.3 went to Kamala, with Jill Stein only managing to eke out 0.8% of the Michigan vote tally. What does that look like in real numbers? Let me tell you. So with Trump's 49.7%, that equaled out to 2.8 million votes cast for Donald J. Trump. Kamala, with 48.3% of the Michigan vote, captured 2.73 million votes. You guys, we're talking the difference of 100,000 votes, give or take. What did that sound like, everybody? What's that 100,000 sound like to you? The what? Uncommitted, or those affiliated or with similar ideological leanings. Obviously, we're talking about Michigan with the highest Arab American population in the entire country. Numbers wise, also to round it out, Jill Stein captured 44,671 votes. So it wasn't Jill Stein's fault that Kamala didn't get Michigan. Even if you do blame Jill Stein for 44,671 votes, that's still over 60,000 votes outstanding that Kamala was just coming up short. And the funny thing is, you can take that down, Will. Thank you so much. Kamala was aware that she was going to come up short. Okay. How could she not? Every time she showed up in Michigan over the past couple of weeks, them people made it. That is the pro-Palestinian movement and those that support the pro-Palestinian movement, maybe not 100%, because I know some people were trying to bargain even amongst themselves, like, well, at least she expressed some open empathy and understanding and perhaps a willingness to be moved on the issue of Palestine. So we'll go ahead and vote for her under Trump because Trump said finish the job. Well, what if the latest shipment of weapons and bombs, munitions and artillery to Israel, what if the last shipments from the Biden administration, what if those are enough to finish the job? What if Israel ain't going to need whatever the fuck Trump going to send in order to, quote, finish the job? Kamala's hands and Joe Biden's hands are drenched in blood with this genocide, and it's unforgivable. And I bet not hear none of these fucking Kamala supporters point fingers at Palestinians or people that support the ending of a genocide, right? How can you even look at yourself with a clear conscience or with a straight face, lest alone if you are a person that considers yourself to be a Christian or even spiritual or even a good person? There is no justifiable excuse to support a genocide. I don't give a fuck if it's your favorite politician, your favorite ball player, your favorite actor, entertainer. If they support Israel, that's some shit you should not support. Says a lot about you if you do, if you're willing to overlook that in the interest of what? Capturing the White House? So the fascism that you cry and are so fearful of coming down the street, bitch, that fascism is here right now. Oh, especially if you're black, especially if you're a woman. You live in an abortion restrictive state. You don't think that's fascism? Well, Trump appointed the Supreme Court justices. Yep, he sure did. But guess when the verdict and the decision came down? Under Democrats. Guess when black people had it more challenges added to their ability to freely vote? Shelby County versus Holder. That was 2013. That was under Obama. shit seems to fuck up somehow under Democrats. You know what I'm saying? And somehow that shit don't be their fault. Democrats just shrug. We don't know what to tell you. We don't know how come every time we get in power, niggas end up with less rights. We can't explain that shit. I know, because y'all move like y'all are soft as scrotum skin. And even though Republicans and conservatives are deeply ugly people, superficially and in their soul, truly ugly individuals, right? They don't make no pretense when they're in fucking power. They govern like they're in fucking power. Democrats govern as though they want to get along with the other side. They want to reach across the aisle. They tell us this all the time. Kamala bragged and boasted about having 200 Republicans stand with her, including war criminal Dick Cheney's daughter. Bitch, that is not impressive. That's not some shit to brag and boast about. In fact, that shit is big weird. And the fact that black people, black Kamala supporters would use that as some sort of odd flex. Why should we be impressed or happy, glad in any way for Kamala or the Democrats to happily align themselves with folks who have demonstrated that our black and women and gay and all of that, our best interest? Absolutely not in their best interest. Hold on. So anyway, Kamala lost Michigan by roughly 100,000 votes, give or take, maybe 160 something. I don't do math quickly in my head. Y'all can figure the shit out, but you understand. It wasn't a blowout in Michigan. In fact, it was very close. And had she listened to her would-be constituents, even if the Biden-Harris White House didn't want to stop arming Israel, the little very least they could have done was to do more in terms of making sure that humanitarian aid was getting in. Palestinians are starving. You understand? It's so horrific, it almost lacks description because it's so bad. Fine, if you don't want to stop sending bombs to Israel, can you at least let the food get in? Can we let the aid trucks get in? Can you maybe stop bombing the aid work? Like, can we just stop bombing, period, is the answer. But apparently that was a bridge too far for Kamala to demand that Joe Biden make that demand on Benjamin Netanyahu. So, because I think the calculus was on behalf of the Harris campaign is that Palestine is a single issue and it wasn't going to be enough to move the needle. I hope she and her supporters understand that when you're dealing with relatively close numbers, even in the popular vote, we're talking 4-5 million votes. I mean, Trump's first popular vote victory, yes, but that's not a big number. Y'all could have done better. But the funny thing is, there is not going to be any accountability here. So I want us to take a look. I want us to get some perspectives from some folks, and examine some of these perspectives. And the first one I want to start with is Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. Brandon Scott, I believe, just captured his second term as mayor of Baltimore. Brandon Scott's an interesting cat because he's a younger black guy. He's in his 30s. He's Baltimore born and raised. While on the Baltimore City Council, he was sort of, I guess, left, I think would be way too generous to describe Brandon Scott. But let's say progressive, okay? He was progressive, I believe. I think I remember Brandon Scott on the city council, Baltimore City Council, championing the $15 an hour, fight for 15 when that was happening in Maryland, in Baltimore in particular. Like, he was on the correct side of some issues. But per usual, once he got elected to the big chair to be mayor, he got his marching orders, right? Like, he had to get the fucking line. That white Baltimore money, that developer money, all that political pressure coming out of Annapolis, they ain't going for all that young boy to semi-radicalism out here, sir. No, you better keep them niggas in line. And Baltimore, anyway, so Baltimore, Brandon Scott's an interesting character. So these were his comments following the Kop-Mala loss, which, by the way, part of me did feel bad for the Kop-Mala supporters, especially some of the Black women. And I can hear some of y'all now. Don't feel sorry for them. I'm an empathetic person. I feel bad for goofballs. Please forgive me. I did feel a little bad, but then I snickered some. So maybe I didn't feel all that goddamn bad. Because I did snicker. I was snickering like a motherfucker at them kids down at Howard. Like, y'all need to cut it out. Y'all really thought y'all was going to have y'all Obama moment. Thank God. Look at Trump saving y'all from getting game ran on y'all in the same way that Obama ran game on us when we was very young and impressionable. But regardless. So here's Brandon Scott taking the perspective of the Black woman is constantly disrespected, which is correct. However, he's going to proclaim that the Harris administration, the Harris campaign did nothing wrong. That the reason and the only reason that Kamala Harris is not the president-elect today has everything to do with her being a Black woman and nothing to do with her policies or her positions, which is short-sighted, but at the same time, very on brand for Democrats. Take accountability for what when we can blame others. So let's take a look at what now soon to be two-term mayor of Baltimore City, Brandon Scott. Let's take a listen.
It is really on my heart this morning to say that as a man, but more importantly as a Black man, that this country does not deserve Black women or Black people, but specifically Black women. This morning I woke up and I just gave my wife a hug because I know how heavy this is weighing on Black women. And they have carried this country and saved this country too many times and continue to be the most disrespected human beings on the planet. And it, quite frankly, it disgusts me. I'm thinking about the world that we're going to bring our daughter into in a few months. And I want the vice president to know that her and her team did everything right in the right way. But the unfortunate reality is that this country is still steeped in racism, sexism, and misogyny. I am personally proud of her, and I know that so many others are the same. We appreciate her tenacity, her focus, her decency, and how she handled herself throughout this campaign. And I don't want to hear anybody saying that they should have done something different. She should have been running longer. The fact is that they did everything that a campaign can do and more. But we as a country really have a lot of soul searching to do. And that's really what I want to say about that today. But I want Black women to hear from me to know that as a Black man, I am going to triple my efforts to lift them up, to make sure that they're supported, to make sure that they're seen, and to make sure that other folks are challenged into understanding that they alone can't be the soul of this democracy, and that they alone can't save us from ourselves time and time again. They alone can't be the people that show up and show up in such a way that folks who are voting against their own best interest, that they are saved as well. They can't do it anymore. And we have to be there to understand that reality and lift them up. I don't know everything that a second Trump presidency will bring to Baltimore. But if he follows through on some of his dark, violent promises, we know that we are looking at challenges in the years ahead. But I want Baltimoreans to hear me clearly.
Yes, because Baltimore only faces challenges when Trump is office. Is that it? Brandon Scott said there that we don't deserve black women. No, we don't deserve black prosecutors. Okay, that is what we do not deserve. We absolutely deserve black women. We don't deserve black prosecutors. Okay, and people that are there in positions to uphold the system and the empire are not people that we need to be supporting. Black prosecutors included, which Kamala is one. Now, Brandon Scott said lots of things there. And guess what? Multiple things can be true. It is true that this country is deeply racist and misogynist. Absolutely. But when he says that Kamala and her campaign did nothing wrong, whoa, whoa, let's pump our brakes there for a second, buddy. They did lots of things wrong. They didn't have a lot of comprehensive interviews. There was not a lot of real interrogation about Kamala's policies. She did a lot of fluff shit. Okay. What did she went on? The Call Her Daddy podcast? What else she went on? The motherfucking didn't she go on Club Shay Shay? What else she did? Oh, the Shade Room. Where else she went to? Chat Fire Fan. Where else Kamala? All the Smoke. Earn Your Leisure, Steve Harvey, this, that, and the third. I can't take you seriously when you don't want to stand up to scrutiny. And I'm sorry, 160 Minutes interview ain't going to get it. One appearance on Unfiltered with Roland Martin with pre-approved questions is not going to get it. Okay? This lady was not asked tough questions about her policies. Her policies, by the way, like I needed more explanation on how she was going to bring down price gouging on housing and groceries. Can we get a few more details? How do you plan on doing that under capitalism? How are you going to force companies to reduce their prices? And let's assume that she did win the White House with a red Congress. You was what's the bill? What was the bill? Did we have an idea for a bill? Fuck it, there ain't no clever name for the bill. But I needed way more details. Like that shit was just lip service. And it was presented from a position of delusion in the first place, right? How are you going to work with the majority Republican Senate? Now, well, rather a whole ass branch of the legislature, pardon me, the branch of the government, the legislative branch, is controlled by Republicans. How are you going to do any of these things? She wasn't asked. As a prosecutor, Vice President Harris, an innocent black man was recently executed in the state of Missouri. What do you have to say about that? Is there a reason that the Biden White House, under your advisement or suggestion or recommendation, didn't use its influence to try to get a reprieve to the execution of a man who was proven innocent, but yet still on death row? Marcellus Williamson. I hope I have the name correct because y'all know I smoke a lot of weed and I'll be forgetting names. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, where was this level of questioning? Where was this interrogation? It wasn't there. Because Kamala's campaign decided to run in the fluffy circles. She wanted to go on the podcast. That's cool. But what I need y'all to understand is that 99% of these podcasters are not and have never been journalists. I know I cuss a lot. You know what I'm saying? I know I use a lot of racial fucking slurs out here. But guess what, bitches? My bachelor's degree says journalism from this and from a reputable school, from a school with some rep. Temple University, Temple Owls are everywhere. I have worked as a journalist. I have worked as a radio personality. I've worked as a traffic reporter. I've worked in a lot of shit. Okay. But trust and believe, I ask questions. Thank you to those who recognize that interviewing is actually probably my strength rather than opining. But regardless, here I opine. But when I interview, motherfucker, I interview. You think I would have let Kamala sit in my fucking face and talk stupid? But it's anyway, you know what? Let me calm down. She didn't take us seriously, right? She didn't take working class people seriously. She did not take, because by the way, a lot of those white working class, a lot of those actual white union members in the Rust Belt, Upper Midwest, they broke for they broke for Trump. She couldn't even count on the labor vote. Why? Because the Biden White House showed you over the past 4 years that they only stand with labor when pushed. Biden walked the UAW picket line because he was pushed, because he knew what time it was. He knew what the fuck time it was. But anyway, white working class did not break for Kamala, not even close. And yet the Democrats insist that is the demographic that they need to recapture. But as it relates to black people, and here what Brandon Scott was discussing, he said he needs he wants to lift up and uplift black women and stand with black women. Okay, let me see that set forth in your agenda for your coming term. Next term as Mayor Scott. Where is your specific action items targeting black women in Baltimore who could absolutely use the help, by the way? By the fucking way. Since we going hard, are we going hard for black women, or are we going hard for black women prosecutors? Because I think that is a distinction sometimes without a difference, right? These bougie niggas only see themselves and only think that their advocacy for one another is what matters. I didn't hear Brandon Scott say fuck all about regular ass black women, not named Kamala, who wasn't the Democratic nominee for president, right? What about regular black women, Mayor Scott? Talk that shit, put it up. What else did he say? Oh, black women can't continue to be the soul, can't continue to be the conscience, can't continue to save this country. Let me agree with Mayor Scott on that. And for all the black women in particular who felt their hearts broken by Kamala's defeat at the hands of Donald Trump of all motherfuckers, I hate to be the one to tell you this or remind you of this, okay? But for black people specifically, you need to know this. There is no assimilation, none, okay? Maybe a sliver, a fraction. You could be perfect Negro out here. Never been arrested, no criminal record, never went to jail, college educated, advanced degree, professional degree, multiple elected office held, top cop, state's attorney, attorney general, U.S. senator, vice president, and woman. You will never, ever defeat a white man in America who is talking that racist shit, because that's what America is. America is white supremacist to its core, misogynist to its core. It showed it with Hillary Clinton, right? But make that double with Kamala, okay? For the simple fact that she is a black woman. And that's not the only reason she was defeated, but absolutely, it was a factor. Make no mistake about it. Because what this is what our deep level of indoctrination has done to us. We don't even peep how well Americans are indoctrinated. Like, I'm sorry, my notes running. But there was so much deprogramming that has to happen to all of us, each of us, regardless of how we are appearing or showing up in this country, whatever your gender identity is, your race, your class, like all of that has to be deconstructed in the prism of how America as a colony has colonized us. I saw this clip from Chomsky, and it just rang so true, right? And I'm a paraphrase, because of course I can't remember it verbatim. But basically he was saying the only way that you're allowed to engage in the debate, in the mainstream political debate, in the mainstream political discourse, is if you accept the false assumptions that have already been set forth for the debate, for the parameters of the debate. So for example, you have to believe fundamentally that America is good, right? That America is a benevolent country. America has a right to exist and defend itself. You know, America might fuck up sometime. You know, we might have genocided, you know, a few people in Korea and Afghanistan and Vietnam and Chile and Nicaragua and all these places, but those are just mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Fundamentally, at its core, America is a good country, right? Like, you have to accept this premise that all people are given equal outcome and opportunity in this country. We know that's not the case. You also have to look at America as like a classless place, right? Or even worse, the people who are on top, the billionaires like punk motherfucker Elon Musk, like somehow money and wealth and power make these people smart and benevolent, right? Like, you have to sort of accept these falsehoods about the country and the society before they will even let you participate in the debate. And this is where I want Black women in particular to let it go. You got to set, when I was a child, I did childish things. I had childish thoughts. I played childish games. You can be exceptional Negro, magical Negro, but they will only let you get so far. Okay. Barack Obama wasn't the first Black president elected in America in 2008 because it was the first time there was a qualified Black man smart enough to lead the country. No. Obama fit a very specific phenotype, you know, light skin, non-threatening, plays basketball in mom jeans. You know what I'm saying? Bitch nigga. Okay. Like, Obama had to present a bit as a bitch nigga to get accepted. They can't have no fucking threatening dark skinned ass man be the president of America. No, this nigga has to be light skinned. You have to at least give the appearance that somewhere along the line, one of his ancestors was abused, was SA'd by a plantation owner. Even though that's not Obama's story, but he looks, he looks like he could be. But y'all understand what I'm saying, right? Obama had to fit the bitch nigga, you know, presentation. So that's why he was allowed to get on. But unfortunately, as a woman, nah. It's a lose-lose. You can't come off too soft, can't come off too hard. It's a no-win situation for women, and Black women in particular. You already know this. Y'all know this. So please stop breaking your own hearts. Stop thinking America is going to actually accept you and validate you and promote you and acknowledge you for the amazing, talented, gifted, you know, accomplished people that a lot of people are, right? Like, stop thinking that that's going to happen, even if you are that, right? Guess what? Chances are you still getting paid less than the white boy in your comparable position. You getting paid less than a mediocre person, a person who has a mediocre talent and skill level than you. And what Kamala just experiences is exactly that. That is our experience. We don't move or operate the levers of power. We can't change that. Okay. I don't give a fuck how much affirmative action. You know what I'm saying? Bitch, we'd have to have aggressive affirmative action for like at least the next 500 fucking years for anything like that for us to experience any sort of real parity. Okay. So the minute you stop having the expectations that America is going to live up to its creed and promise, that's when you could actually free yourself and focus on what matters. And what matters is not getting bourgeoisie Black politicians elected, because guess what? Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. The motherfucking Black politicians are going to get in there and move like crackers. Let Eric Adams show you. Let him tell you. Let Marilyn Mosby show you and tell you. Who's the young man in Chicago? Brandon Johnson. Let this motherfucker get in there and show you and tell you. As soon as they get a chance, they're going to start moving like crackers. So again, we have to stop putting such unrealistic expectations as though these Black politicians are going to be the ones to save us. No, we have to save ourselves. And I hope the election, or rather the re-election of Donald Trump, is driving that home for a lot of folks. But una momento, I'm sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent because I did want to come back here to a couple of things, because in addition to Black people, I'm sorry, I'm still snickering a little bit. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Like, there was no way me myself personally was gonna be. It was lose regardless for me. It didn't fucking matter who won, Cop Marla or Trump. It's gonna be fascism regardless. And if you don't recognize the fascism that happens under Democrats, but you only see it when there's a Republican in the White House, I feel sorry for your mother. So, Will, let's go to the next clip on the doc. Because, and to be clear, y'all, when I play clips from other racial and ethnic groups, not of my racial and ethnic group, I don't assume that this individual is speaking for an entire community. Okay. It's a sliver, it's a perspective, it's one person's opinion, but it had the ring of truth, which is why it caught my attention. Because apparently some of the groups that broke heavier for Trump this election, that had previously broken more for Joe Biden in 2020, yeah, included Latino men, which we'll get to, Asians, maybe, and perhaps maybe more specifically Asian men, voters under white men under 30 and under. And then I think they said white men over the age of 45 or 45 to 60, whatever. But this gentleman, this TikTok creator, is going to share with us their opinion, about why Donald Trump was able to capture a bigger percentage of the Asian vote this time around. Let's take a listen.
I'm just going to come right out and say out loud what I think the real reason is why Asian American congregations are comfortable voting MAGA and being part of the MAGA cult. It's because they think they're next in line to be white. Like, that's it. That's 100%, right? Like, I think right now it's, like Irish, Italians, they got to be white. And right now, light-skinned Latinos get to be white. And light-skinned Asians are next. I think that's what they genuinely believe. I don't think it is true. I think that our features are different enough that that the majority power, right, that to get 51%, and you can see the other video I posted about that, they're not going to let us in. Not if they can find somebody else. And I think they will be able to find somebody else. Or they'll let us in just enough. They'll keep promising to let us in. But they'll only let us in through breeding. I'll be again, I'm just saying it out loud, right? Like, if the kid is half white, half Asian, then that's okay. Then you'll be let in. And that's the hope. I think that's honestly, like, if they don't want to say it, or this first generation, second generation immigrants don't want to say it. But that is the real reason. They think they're next in line.
Rings a little true, does it not? I mean, it sounds plausible. Yes, that has been every immigrant group's goal coming here, to climb the social ladder so their descendants, so their children will be better situated either socially or economically, right? And I think that guy, number one, he's not advocating for that position. He's just trying to give us some perspective as to why members of his community may have be in support of Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Well, it's cute, Asians. Keep trying. Keep hope alive, as Jesse Jackson says. Y'all keep hope alive for those that do have that mentality. Chinese people in particular have been in this country since the mid 1800s. That would be the mid 19th century, which means they've been here coming up on 200 years. Okay, the Chinese built the transcontinental railroad. The Chinese immigrants helped to build up ginormous swaths of the West Coast, right? And guess what? And guess what? They have shown up to build this fucking country, literally, to take it out of I guess the feudal era of sorts, even though it's all feudalism, but you understand what I'm saying, the low-tech era into the modern era. And the Asians still get dumped on. Still had the Chinese exclusion acts passed at the federal level for Japanese Americans, still place them in internment, read concentration camps during World War II, even as recent as Trump with the COVID pandemic, the China virus, and the anti-Asian sentiment flares up all over again in the United States. And again, I guess sort of like Black people, the Asians keep holding on that the one day we're going to assimilate fully and be accepted. Well, that's not going to happen, unfortunately, although for obvious reasons, just like the creator there outlined. No, you don't look white. Your skin is fair, but you ain't white. You not. Your features give you away in the same way that Black folks, no matter how qualified, no matter how stellar the resume, no matter how outstanding the reputation, and no matter how anglicized your name, when this Kimberly Brown shows up at the job interview, there's no mistaking who and what I am. And Asian folks experience the same thing. Even that doesn't really matter what specific culture or ethnicity you come from. You show up as non-white. And to the brother's point there, like if you, I do assume they must assume that they will be accepted eventually through breeding. But is that what you really want? Because by the time you get 2 generations in, right? This is a gross generalization on my part, but this is just what I think, right? Okay, cool. First generation Asian parents come to America. Their daughter, let's say, marries a white man. Then the daughter has a half Asian, half white child. By the time that grandchild to the first generation immigrant grandparents at this point, by the time they come up, they've already been well indoctrinated in the ethos that whiteness is the way. So they're not going to go back east, relatively speaking, proverbially speaking. They're not going to go back to the Asian. They're going to re-up on the white, because that's the messaging that they have been sent, not only from society and from American culture, because whiteness is seen as normal and good and all of this shit, and American, most importantly. But once the grandchild, the half white, half Asian child comes up, they're going to be looking for a white partner. And then you will have lost your connection to the Asian heritage, to your Asian culture, or at least your grandchildren or great grandchildren. They won't even be Asian. No parts Asian. They won't even fucking claim to be any parts Asian. Is that what the fuck you want? Because that sounds like a lot what the whites try to do with the native and the indigenous people here. It's kind of what they do with Black people here, especially enslaved people coming during the transatlantic slave trade times. Just make it just erase your culture. But the Asians, per the framing of this TikTok creator, these folks want to do it willingly. Jesus Christ. You want to breed yourself out of existence. Jesus, why? So the kids, them, can be considered white and get accepted into whiteness? Is that not the most fucking self-hating, self-erasure, white supremacist shit ever? It's sad, in fact. So let's hope that's not the case. But most importantly, it's not a good strategy, especially given what Trump has promised to do. Trump has grossly overinflated the number of estimated, quote, illegal immigrants, undocumented people. What gives these Asian MAGAs the impression that the mass deportations won't include them? Why do you think that? Oh, because he only mad at Mexicans? Because he's only referenced the Latinos? No. He don't forget Trump did a Muslim ban. If he fucked with Muslims, why wouldn't he fuck with Asians? See, again, motherfuckers be thinking that because they played a game or they adhere to the rules, that somehow you yourself are not considered prey. No, you're actually the easier prey. You know what I'm saying? Because you announce yourself as a supporter, and you think that, hey, in a not so off analogy, hey, maybe if I show the Nazis that I'm actually down with Nazism, maybe they won't send me to the camps. When you present as non-white, when you are automatically presenting as other. Wow, the delusion. Y'all need to, not y'all. I can't see Asian MAGAs being over here. But if we got any of our Asian comrades, our Asian brethren and sisters, and I know y'all Asian MAGA uncles, kinfolk, fellow alums from school, you better tell these motherfuckers that Trump ain't leaving y'all off the list, okay? Trump may not even be concerned whether or not you're American. The fact that you present as other or non-white, that might be enough. Anyway, let me move along to another group that's finally getting some blame. I know the white women is getting some blame, some I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that these other so-called minorities got some too, because normally it's niggas. Everybody got smoke for niggas. Well, blacks didn't do this, the blacks didn't show, the blacks didn't do The rest of y'all non-whites can get some of this too. And as well you should. So Latino men voted in greater numbers for Trump. I actually saw a breakdown somewhat via country. And I think the nationality group that, or they are their nationality hyphen American, but the Latino nationality that voted the least in the fewer numbers for Trump were Mexicans. Then I think it followed up by Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans voted more for Kamala than they did Trump. Cubans actually voted more for Trump. That shouldn't surprise many folks. But anyway, let's hear from this Hispanic brother who has some advice for some of his familia, for some of his people who happily, loudly, gladly showed up and cast a ballot for Donald J. Trump, even amidst Trump's promises for mass deportation for undocumented immigrants. Let's take a listen.
Fact that's bringing me so much joy right now. So my father's Cuban, my mom's Mexican. Her mom came to this country not necessarily legally. She voted, though, for Donald Trump. A lot of my extended family on my mom's side voted for Donald Trump. So here's the deal. If I'm getting deported, guess what? You're coming with me. It's what you wanted. We're going to drain the swamp together. We're going to give you exactly what you voted for. When the ICE officials come for me, guess who's getting ratted out? Congratulations, and I can't wait for the family reunion in Tijuana. Mi gente, mwah, love your faces. See you in hell.
Now, that was actually sort of a softer version of a sentiment that I saw repeated on social media several times. That's not the video that I wanted to use, but I chose that one because, again, it was a little softer than the one that I really wanted to use. And it was, again, of this Mexican-American creator. He's very popular. I believe he's a dual citizen. He has a perfect American accent, but also speaks very good Spanish. Some of his content is bilingual. He is from Durango, Mexico. But anyway, he always has smoke for what he calls self-hating Mexicans. And I think he's referring to Mexicans in particular and Latinos at large who support conservatives, Republicans, and Donald Trump. And he made a video with the number 2 ICE, the number 2 Border Patrol. And he told people to rat out undocumented people. And he said, yeah, I know it sounds harsh. No, it actually sounds very cruel and fucked up. I understand people voted how they voted. And trust me, they will experience those consequences at a time in the future, most definitely. But calling the fucking feds, calling the federale, calling the fucking Gestapo on otherwise innocent folks is not the move, okay? And I don't suggest that. I don't recommend that. Because if Trump is going to follow through on his promises, then he doesn't need any fucking help from civilians, okay? Trust me, he's going to get plenty of that or enough of that from them crackers. But as it relates to people, understanding that they themselves will also feel the consequences of a Donald Trump administration. Again, I just want to remind you that Biden Harris restricted and rolled back the ability to seek asylum, to seek refugee status in this country. They said that we have an app. You have a fucking app for people sitting on the goddamn border. What's the cell service hitting like? They got charging stations. The fuck you mean you got an app? The point is that as cruel and fucked up as you think Trump is, which he is, and his immigration policies are, they were emulated and continued by Biden Harris. Also as cruel, maybe not in its rhetoric, but certainly in the outcomes, right? So in there you had Kamala to open the show, telling people in Guatemala and the whole region, don't come. And if you get to the border, you will be turned back. Immigrants, unfortunately, you don't have any political allies in elected office. So welcome. Black people says there's room over here. Come sit. We too don't have any political allies. Oh, and again, don't think that simply having racial representation does an ally make. I'm certain that most Latinos and Hispanics can easily tell you that Ted Cruz is not your homie. Okay. Like Marco Rubio, little Marco, is not your nigga. Okay. Them niggas don't give a fuck about you and your undocumented status and your DACA status and the status of your abuelita. They don't give a single shit about your brown ass. And the sooner you figure that out, the better planned or the better prepared you may be. So I wanted to say, just basically that whose fault is it that Kamala lost? Ultimately, it's Democrats' fault. Ultimately, it's her fault. Ultimately, when you fail to actually distinguish yourself between you and Satan, and you think, I think did Jon Stewart say this, like, and you just expect that even though you're the one, not John, Jon Stewart did not say this. A different TikTok Palestinian creator said this on TikTok. That I'm sorry, you expected people who stood with Palestine and who are themselves either Muslim or affiliated or who have sympathy or empathy or stand with these people. You expect them to choose between Satan and the person that is enabling a genocide. Like that's not that is a no choice whatsoever. But what you don't do, you don't continue to reward the people that are currently in charge of the genocide. I agree with that. Kamala failed to recognize that. Democrats at large failed to recognize that. Netanyahu in Israel cost you the war, the genocide. I mean, the war. They did cost you this battle anyway. Netanyahu, Israel, and the genocide cost you this election. You should own that. Oh, and the other thing, lastly, the other thing that cost them the election, obviously, is the economy. And I'm only going to make myself briefly talk about this. I'm sorry, because I'm running off at the yam, and I do have some other things I want to get to. But this election reflection, I think, is important. So the economy, Bill Cosby, Bill Clinton, same dude, same nigga. Bill Clinton also threatened to buy NBC one of them years. No, I'm kidding. But Bill Clinton, in his 1992 presidential defeat of the incumbent Republican George Herbert Walker Bush, famously had the banner in the Clinton presidential headquarters, whatever the fuck. It's the economy, stupid. It's the economy, stupid. As much as the Biden Harris White House, month after month, we're rolling out these job numbers. Oh, the job market. Look, we created 62,000 jobs. Oh, the unemployment rate is at 4.2%. Is also accepting a certain level of delusion. Okay. How is it that we have all these jobs being created, but ain't nobody fucking working? Or people are working 2 and 3 hourly paying jobs, right? The salary, benefits, 401k, healthcare, dental vision, all of that shit. Them jobs are on the internet only. What do I mean by that? Is that companies, corporations, and the government have a nice little scheme, have a nice little illusionary deception going on the American people, that they are in fact posting tens of thousands of job listings, job postings of jobs that don't even actually exist. But yet the corporations themselves, the job posters, the job creators, they get credit from the government for creating jobs. But in fact, they didn't create fuck all jobs. They made job listings and postings of positions that they never intended to fill. Okay. And that beloveds is called a scam. Okay. You are scamming people and manipulating information in such a way to make them think that it's one way when it's really the other way. Okay. So there's the jobs aspect part of the economy, the farcical nature of, jobs, good paying jobs being available for people. The Biden Harris administration not really standing strongly with labor, not encouraging the growth of the organized labor movement, just tacitly giving it some acknowledgments, etc. But again, the prices, the inflation, all the credit that I see the pundits on the news give to Joe Biden. Oh, inflation is under 2%. They kept it under 2%. Bitch, do you know how much it fucking costs to either A, go to the grocery store, and or B, eat out, and or C, get food delivered? Drop it in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. In the DC area, you're averaging like $20 a meal. And that's not $20 for like 2 people to eat. And I say average, that's probably a low average. I'm guessing, let's say $20 to $30, right? Depending on if you're eating out, and obviously you need to tip your servers and pay for service. Again, a draconian colonial holdover that America does and other so-called industrialized nations do not do, but regardless. So you got to pay in addition to your food, which is already priced higher because of inflation on food prices, on produce, on meats, etc. Your meal itself is priced higher. You got to pay for service if you're eating out, or if you're having your food delivered, food delivery service, you should be tipping your driver also. So $25, let's say that $25 a meal. Miss me with the 2% inflation. Oh, inflation's coming down. No, bitch, that shit don't feel like it's coming down. The price of food ain't moved at all. Okay. And for my folks that are struggling it out like some G's out here, like some warriors in that rental housing market, that shit ain't gone down, right? If anything, people are getting notices when they go to renew their lease that in fact their rents will be going up. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is out here like the emperor's new clothes. You trying to don't my shit look fly and stunning? No, bitch, you are naked. What are you talking about? You trying to sell us a dream that shit is getting better on the economic front. It don't feel that way. My money don't go no further. And as someone, basically, Kamala, the half incumbent, as it were, the VP of an unpopular White House, good luck getting people to show up and vote for that. You had nothing. She had fuck all. Her policies were flimsy. Her resolve to stay to doggedly adhere to the status quo on foreign policy, on immigration, on border policies, on environmental issues. Her flip-flop on fracking is something not to be trivially ignored. Like, no, you didn't inspire anything. You didn't inspire votes. You didn't inspire confidence. You inspired an identity politic allegiance. And that's who exactly showed up for you. 93% of Black women showed up for Kamala Harris. Where did it get us? No, Black women cannot save the soul of America. And quite frankly, we should stop trying. Let it go. Will, throw up you got the map handy. Throw up the map again. Look at the fuck America being on the rag. America's in hell. Okay? Hell. And if you live here and if you've been here, you know this already. This isn't news. Look at that. Looking like hell. Looking like hell, Michigan. Isn't there? There is an actual hell, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. There is a couple of towns in this fucked up colony actually named hell. But look at it. Hell. So stop trying to save the soul of America. America has no soul. And whatever soul it has is evil and twisted, and has been since its inception as a colony, since its founding as a so-called independent nation. It is born on the backs of blood of the indigenous people, born from the suffering and the importation of millions of Africans who were denied autonomy at every turn. It is born from the labor of Chinese, can't say Americans because they came here straight from China, building the railroads. The Latinos who come here today, building houses, building communities. This country is not for those people. And I too am those people. Drop the illusion and the delusion. Your mental health will only continue to suffer if you insist. That's good, Will. Thank you so much. If you insist that America is something that she's never been. Oh, we have to, I miss the times when people were more together. They were not fucking together. Never has been. So free yourself, literally and figuratively, of that delusion, of that misconception that somehow America will ever live up to its stated creed. It's incapable of doing so. And that's for Black people. That's for other non-white people. That's even for, well-meaning white people who still try to adhere to some sort of patriot myth of America's benevolence. It's not there, y'all. Look at how this country treats its own people trying to come here to pursue the American dream. Look at how this country treats the environment. Look how this country treats children. Look at how this country treats mothers. Look at how this country treats other countries around the world that does not bend to the American will. Where is the evidence that this is a country worth saving? There is none. Let me take a break. I appreciate you guys indulging me. I had to get that off my chest. Shout out to the folks that are in here. Lots of people in here. Shout out to our moderators, the good people who I'm assuming are doing diligent work. I ain't no telling what kind of trolls we got in here tonight, baby. Because in case you didn't know, in case anybody is mistaken, it is fuck Trump also. Okay, like we don't just have smoke for Kamala. It's fuck Trump also, but we already know what time it is with Donald Trump. So we can continue to double down on the redundancy on how bad Trump is. Yes, we fucking know that. Oh, shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Abby. Thank you so much to Latif. Who else we got in here tonight? We got Dee Dee, Norman Witch in the building, Swery Ferry, Holly Horn.
Can I shout out some people?
By all means, good brother Will. Go ahead.
Can we shout out the good people that gave us some super chats.
Hey. Oh, someone ran us a Cash App too. Go ahead. Let's find
Thank you. Infinite Content, Kim. How did they screw this up so much? So this up on a colossal scale. By the way, if you run as Republican light, you lose. Fire the DNC leadership now.
every
Capital letter.
time. Infinite Content. These niggas is hard headed. Infinite Content, but guess what? A hard head make a soft ass. They gonna get tired of getting spanked, but I guess not. Thank you so much, Infinite Content, always for your comment, for your super chat, for your support. We appreciate you, brother.
We appreciate you. Also, Anna Hart, thank you for your super chat.
Hey.
Around the fire support sesh is tomorrow. Make sure you are a member to get that link. Also, BW in Wisconsin, they gifted 5 memberships.
Hey, thank you so much. BW, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Shout out to my niece Alicia for your Cash App support too. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Yep. And Teresa gifted 10 of them. And Sela is a new member.
Hey, thank you so much, Sela. We appreciate that. Thank you guys for also helping to grow the membership on the channel. We appreciate that. That is awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support and for being here. How many people we got in here rocking with us, Will?
149 at the moment.
I'll take it. Thank you all so much. Please, if we got 149 people joining us in the live chat, I would like you know, I'm a woman, so I don't ask for things. I don't negotiate at the way that I'm supposed to because I've been taught that I deserve less. However, would be sure swell if we could get 149 likes on the video. I don't think that's asking too much. So please and thank you to all those that sent material support, but we accept free support as well. I'm not ungrateful, unlike some people. And y'all know who I'm talking about. So I'm not going to say nothing. But you know the people that stop and frisk their viewers for money. I am with them people at the same time. We just move a little different. That's all. But you know, it's all love. But you understand what I'm saying. I appreciate the free support. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, chat, do all the things here. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We appreciate you. So interestingly enough, so white people got everything that they wanted. Well, the racist whites, the Trump whites, the MAGA whites, right? Everything. Ooh, they didn't have to come to DC and tear shit up. They didn't have to, let the chopper sing. Well, maybe not quite. But I think most people assume that political violence was averted because of a Donald Trump win. Well, you would be mistaken because guess what? The radical, extremist, right-wing whites, these niggas was busy this week. These niggas was determined to cause some chaos, some fucking where. Apparently, win or lose, didn't even matter if Trump won. These niggas said, yup, you know what? Chaos, we will take some chaos. So this segment is called Look at the Whites. Woo! Let me get to look at the whites. I was going to say something. I'm going to get back to that. So, Will, let's go ahead and cue up that first package. Nashville, Tennessee. We have taken a look at the tension, the increased presence, the visibility of white supremacists, white nationalists marching through the streets of Nashville, giving repeating out chants along the lines of we y'all shall not replace us, or white is right, or whatever the fuck they say, fight the power. I don't know what the fuck them crackers was out there saying, but they was waving Confederate flags, don't tread on me, whatever. They were making it quite clear that their position was that from white supremacy, and in turn to show up very visible in the city of Nashville and surrounding areas as a form of intimidation, right? So there's that. But there was a plot to blow up a power station in Nashville that the feds, the FBI, ooh, they may not be able to do this kind of domestic terrorism work much longer because those are Trump's niggas. Trump is going to direct the FBI. No. Y'all need to scale back these domestic terrorism stings because these are my supporters. They want to blow up the substation. So the fuck what? Let them. So, okay, fine. So anyway, so check out this story from out of Tennessee. This man is a man. He's a white man, 23 years old, if I have that right. Oh, wait. Is this the right story? Well, wait, am I prefacing the right story? Hold on. I may not be prefacing the right story. Who arrested for so anyway, do me a favor, Will, play the one I'm just talking about with the power station. I think it's the second one. I fucked up on the order. But yeah, the one that has FBI in the description. Are you able to do that, good brother?
A terrifying plan to blow up a TVA substation right here in Nashville. 24-year-old Skylar Filippi was taken into custody by the FBI at a power plant just like this one, the night he planned to blow up the energy facility, quote, like a 4th of July firework. When he was arrested, the Columbia man with ties to violent white supremacist groups believed he was moments away from flying a drone strapped with explosives into the substation, according to the Department of Justice. Since midsummer, the FBI has been watching him. They report he scouted locations, built a drone, and bought several pounds of C4 explosives and black powder for pipe bombs. Undercover agents were with him when he tested out his drone the same day the attack was planned. This photo shows Filippi with 2 agents before he left an area hotel to carry out his plan. There's been an uptick in plots by extremists to attack the power grid. Come to find out, hundreds of attacks are planned every year. CBS News reports the onset of the pandemic, social tension, and economic challenges have been motivators. The FBI says this attack could have left thousands of Americans and critical infrastructure like hospitals without power. Filippi is charged with attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction and attempted destruction of an energy facility. If convicted, the suspect faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. In Nashville, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
Why do all these racist young crackers got that same fucking terrible goddamn haircut? That shit is annoying. or maybe it's at least it's a good visual marker. If you see such a person out in the world, assume, they might have those sort of plans and ambitions in their back pocket. Yup, Skylar Filippi. I wasn't sure if Skylar was all the way white because, Filippi, I wasn't, he could be Argentinian also. It's complicated. He identifies with white supremacist ideology. So ergo, therefore, Klansman, no problem. 24 years old, ready to blow up the power grid right there in Nashville. Feds had eyeballs on him the whole time, which I guess is a good thing. Though it is a little infuriating when you look at the scale of what this racist white was plotting and intending to do versus what the Uhuru 3 were in part convicted, but also accused of doing. What? Having lunch with Russians? And they put them on federal trial. Meanwhile, Skylar from fucking Tennessee is assembling drones and arming them with bombs and planning literal mass destruction to a critical piece of the infrastructure that could cause irreparable harm. Hospitals, nursing homes, people's personal medical equipment, their oxygen tank, their CPAP, their whatever the fuck. Just like that, those crackers in recent years in North Carolina did cause damage to the substation. And who did they fuck up? Their own mamas and papas. Why? Because white supremacist ideology is not rational nor reasonable, nor does it even give a fuck about other whites, depending on the circumstance or depending on the cause. And it was interesting for that package. I'm going to assume the reporter was citing whatever statement the FBI put out or whatever expert think tank that pays attention to extremist domestic plots of destruction, etc. But she named the COVID pandemic, economic hardship, and a third thing as the reason why authorities believe that these are the factors that are driving these extremist plots. They never say white supremacy. They say that this individual himself adhered to white supremacy, but they didn't list white supremacy as the reason that most of these plots are either A, being planned, or B, being uncovered. They don't like to talk about how literally destructive that white people have been to their own shit. See, I know they never want to let niggas forget that they burned down that Target at one time, right? Because let Trump tell it. where Alicia, tell him. Let Trump tell it. Black people burned down the whole of Minneapolis. Like Minneapolis is still smoldering from how all the Black Lives Matter protesters burned the whole city of Minneapolis to the ground. We never talk about how historically, literally, that is what the whites have done, except they have done it to Black areas of literally every single corner, or even Asian areas or Hispanic areas or native indigenous areas of this country. Wherever non-whites got their shit together, trust me, the rowdy racist whites was coming to burn shit down. And if you don't believe me, look it up. Wherever the fuck you are, whatever town, city you reside in, or state you reside in, look up the blank blank riots. Okay? The blank blank riots. And I assure you, if it was 1975 and before, or let's even fuck it, let's say 68, because that's when Black people got upset and began rioting, and uprisings rather, happen in places like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Chicago, Oakland, LA, etc., Watts, whatnot. All the previous riots and burning down of sections of town, the whites, the racist, rowdy whites every single time. So, and that's something that never gets factored into the reporting of these types of incidents. This is a feature of white supremacy. This is how white political violence helps to express itself. Always wanton destruction, chaos, mass murder. It's what they do. 24 years old, though. And this next piece of shit is something about these. Are the 23-year-olds, are they Gen Z or are they Gen Alpha? I don't know, but they dangerous, baby. I don't know what the fuck. The white ones especially. You think Tayshawn and them is rowdy. Skyler. Skyler and his crew? Oh, don't fuck with them, shorty. Not to be fucked with. So Will is going to be that first package. So Courtney, hopefully you avoided this. You're here tonight, so I'm assuming that you did. But in case you guys did not know this, if you're watching from different places from around the country or even from around the world, there was a spree shooting over the course of several days this week during the U.S. election time, in which there were, I think, a reported 12 shootings, between shooting at houses and shooting at vehicles in and around the area of Raleigh, North Carolina. Some of them concentrated around the Highway 40 area, right? Interstate 40, right? And they didn't know who the fuck was just randomly shooting at motorists and randomly shooting at seemingly random houses. Well, they caught him. And what was he? You got it. A white. He was a white. So, Will, let us continue to look at the whites. Take a look.
Breaking news. Just before 1 this morning, Raleigh police announced the arrest of a 23-year-old man in connection with a string of shootings at cars and homes. Andrew Graney is facing felony charges in the spree of 12 shootings over the last 4 days around southwest Raleigh and along I-40. WRO's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the Wake County Justice Center. Kelsey, Graney will make his first court appearance there this afternoon. Yes, Renee, that's what's scheduled. 12 shootings in 4 days, and now one man is in custody. 23-year-old Andrew Graney is expected to appear here in court later this afternoon, and our cameras were there as Graney was charged with multiple felonies overnight, including assault with a deadly weapon and discharging a weapon into an occupied dwelling or vehicle. This all connected to a series of shootings along I-40 in southwest Raleigh this week. One woman was hurt, 8 cars and 4 homes were shot at between Monday and Thursday. Sky 5 captured this video as more than 24 officers arrested Graney in a southwest Raleigh neighborhood. Another man was taken into custody. He was later released and wasn't charged. Graney is scheduled to appear here in court this afternoon at 1:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
NC State's campus is hoping to get back to business as usual today after students got that wolf alert over the shootings at the cars and in those neighborhoods. And we were on the air bringing this to you live in the morning, all morning. It happened very close to the Centennial campus yesterday. Some students say they took different routes to campus to avoid I-40. One told WRAL that she feels safer now knowing police have someone in custody.
My parents are also coming down this weekend and they had to use I-40, so I sent it to them and I was terrified. It's very relieving because, I don't have to worry about when my parents come, there's something happening.
Hundreds of thousands of people travel on the I-40 daily. So NC State Police assisted Raleigh police due to the proximity of that shooting on campus. There was security on campus that was increased while those officers patrolled the area. I'll give you another look at the big picture here. This is the map of where the 12 shootings happened. 8 cars, 4 homes. You can see just how expansive this was. The shootings began Monday. And all throughout the week, people had cars and homes shot at along I-40 and around southwest Raleigh. The shootings happened as far east as Centennial Ridge Way and into Cary, all the way up to Trinity Road.
Do me a favor, if you are in the Raleigh area, can you give us some demographical context to that area, southwest Raleigh? I'm not familiar. NC State, I'm not familiar with the area in terms of who lives where. Where do white people live? Where do black people live? Where do the Hispanics live? Because, it's the South, so I'm assuming it's segregated. You know what I'm saying? Still North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? But hold on. Look at the whites. 23-year-old Andrew Graney. Andrew started this spree shooting Monday, the day before Election Day. Shot 12 locations in 4 days. In a red state, in a state that Trump won. The previous motherfucker we talked about in the story. 23 years old, also from a red state, a state Trump won. The fuck is y'all so goddamn mad for? This is the shit we got to be doubly or triply on our P's and Q's as we do enter a second Trump presidency. And not to say that this shit wouldn't happen even if Kamala had been elected president, but it is part and parcel for what America is, okay? It is a bunch of race aggrieved white folks, not all, but these fuckers. And even though it was not reported in that package, I would imagine they did not release a motive for these shootings. I have 2 guesses. 3. One is that they were racially motivated, because I'm curious as to who the victims were, whose houses were being shot at, whose vehicles were being shot at and targeted. Because I doubt that it's random. I know I even said random. That might not be the proper characterization. I don't know that these were random shootings. This person may have been very well targeting non-white people. I think also it may have been gender motivated, right? Motivated by misogyny. You'd be surprised. Many of mass shooters, the ones especially that are white and male, have absolutely a deep animus towards women. And when they commit these mass shootings, usually in their online writings or postings or in their manifestos or whatever the fuck expresses their thoughts or their frame of mind, usually there is deep anti-woman or woman-hating sentiments in addition mixed up in the rest of their politics, right? So this was either racially motivated gender motivated, because you heard the one person that was injured was a woman, okay? Or flat out politically motivated, right? To intimidate folks for whatever reason. I would imagine to support Donald Trump, or make them in fear of not supporting Donald Trump, right? I wonder if any of the homes or the vehicles that were shot at had any Harris walls, swag on them, bumper stickers, yard signs. The news is being cagey with this, I would imagine, because the police are also being cagey. Because again, racist white supremacist doctrines and thought processes and all of that shit, organizations even, are protected. Even though this kid has been arrested, he was arrested because he was a public menace. He was a threat to public safety. But again, I would imagine if his ideologies are indeed white supremacist based, that's not going to come out for a while. Or if it is, it's just going to get a cursory mention and referred to as though it's just this one individual, as though violent white supremacy is not the fucking entire ethos, not only an ethos of America, but a modus operandi, okay? The MO. This is how these niggas move, okay? Violent white supremacists cause mass terror. And lastly, in this week's roundup of Look at the Whites. Look at the Whites. Woo! This one right here is a doozy, baby. New York City. Actually, Long Island. Strong Island. This is for y'all. And if you up in New York, in Strong Island, you already know what the fuck I'm about to tell you, don't you? Okay? So, not this week, but last week. So let's say the last week in October, a New York State trooper reported that he had been shot in the leg by some dangerous Negroes. Okay. He was rushed to the hospital, prepped for surgery. Oh, this valiant trooper. Who shot you, Tommy? It was some dark-skinned male black driving a late model Dodge Charger, color black. Everything was black. The perpetuator was black. The suspect was black. The male black and the black. All black. I just know it was black. I was scared for my life. Then he shot me. I'm so terrified. Oh, buddy, how that story fell apart under scrutiny. And I want to pick up with the latest, because I listen, I wanted to tell the whole fucking story. Like, let us start from when the news, the local news, New York City media breathlessly reported about this New York State trooper who had been shot. He's a hero. Blue Lives Matter. We got to find that terrible, awful Negro who shot one of our beloved officers. Blah. Well, go ahead and run the package.
Investigation on Long Island. It all began last week when a New York State trooper reported he'd been shot during a traffic stop. Well, since then, the case has taken a bizarre turn, with authorities indicating there was no such incident and investigators turning their attention to the trooper himself. Yeah. Long Island reporter Shantae Lands live in Farmingdale with the latest.
Shantae, talk to him.
Sandra, bizarre indeed that Trooper Thomas Macia had to turn in his badge and his gun as this criminal and internal investigation is underway. Now, keep in mind, just days ago, we were there as he was celebrated, applauded by state troopers, along with Nassau County Police, honoring him, saluting him, along with his family and friends from the West Hempstead and Kellenberg community that he grew up in. A search warrant, meanwhile, was executed at his home days ago. State police now saying they have reason to believe that his story was flawed. They say this investigation is far from over. No one right now has been arrested. Investigators saying Thomas Macia was found to be in violation of their rules and regulations. They didn't elaborate on exactly how, but the search for that suspect and getaway vehicle, initially we reported it as a black Dodge Charger. We gave a license plate number from the Southern State Parkway where that shooting happened. That has all been canceled. Macia now has no authority to take action as a state police member. Troopers are saying they're shocked.
You know, I think at that time, with the information that we had available to us, there was great concern for him. I can tell you that from my seat, I'm very disappointed. I think that it overshadows the outstanding and great work that the members of the state police and the state troopers do each and every day in an attempt to keep the public safe. So I think that there is, as you can imagine, there's a lot of emotion right now. There's a lot of emotion, and I'm going to leave it at that.
And Trooper Macia was taken to a hospital for a psych evaluation. It's not clear at this point if criminal charges are pending. Live in Farmingdale, Shantae Lands, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Oh, poor widow Tommy. Trooper Thomas Macia, I think they reported his age as being 27 years old, not currently charged criminally with anything. They took away his badge and his gun, and they believe that his story about being shot by a dark-skinned man driving a black Dodge Charger, replete with a license plate as part of the description, by the way. Now the police believe that this story is utter bullshit, right? And there's a lot of things. So let me start with this cop. Thomas Macia, I believe, full name Thomas Macia Jr. Okay. Interestingly enough, when you guys get the opportunity, I want you to Google Thomas Macia Sr. NYPD. And the Google search could yield some very interesting details, because there is a Thomas Macia Sr. who was part of the New York Police Department back in the 90s and was part of one of the biggest police corruption scandals to ever hit the department. I believe they referred to him and his cohorts as the Coke Cops, where they were allegedly running drugs, selling drugs, robbing drug dealers, reselling the drugs, working with the Dominican cartels, and got caught up in some shit. Thomas Macia Sr. So this intrepid fellow of 2024 is Thomas Macia Jr. And the package, though it reported that authorities executed a search warrant on his home, didn't report the findings of or the fruits of that search, rather. And other outlets reported that they found large sums of cash in addition to a cache of a lot of weapons, right? Now, who needs a lot of guns? Niggas that run drugs, of course. But in addition to, where did this 27-year-old trooper, who has not been on the force very long, I don't think he has even been on the force 2 or 3 years, pretty new, a baby cop, right? Where you get all this cash from, Tommy Jr.? Where you get that cash from, Tommy? You linking up with your daddy's contacts from back in the day, or what? or my guess is your father never lost touch with those contacts, right? So the family business is being a corrupt cop, right? You can make a lot of money being a corrupt cop. Not only do you get to charge the state for training, overtime, generous pension, etc., generous benefits package and the like, all while on the taxpayer dole, but you get to double dip, right? You get to do civil asset forfeiture. You get to rob people you pull over. You get the benefit of being white, male, and police. So no one's going to ask you to pop your trunk. No one's ever going to ask you do we have your consent to search your vehicle? No, you would never give that shit. Why? Because you white man and the fucking cop. Perfect drug mule. Perfect money laundering mule. Now, these are just my opinions. This is speculation. But as you see, Thomas Macia Jr. still is being given the wholesale benefit of the doubt. Not been charged criminally. And he's at the hospital right now because they took him to the hospital because he's having a psychological evaluation, because all this is very overwhelming for him. He had no idea that he could possibly be into criminal stuff and him get in trouble. He said, wait a minute. I told y'all who to go look for. A dark-skinned man, license plate number. Here's the make model of the car. And that is a part right there. At any point in time, blackness, and in particular, black maleness, will be instantly vilified and viewed as a threat. Because in American society, black maleness, oh Lord, don't be dark skinned. You notice how he threw dark skin on there. That make that nigga extra dangerous. That's like, you want your chicken, no heat, mild, spicy, extra spicy, from light skin to brown skin to dark skin. Oh, nigga, the danger level goes up the more melanin is involved. So no, it wasn't just a man, a black man who shot. It was a dark-skinned black man. Oh, Bolo, be on the double, triple lookout for this dangerous nigga. This nigga is dark. He is, oh my goodness, danger. But think about all of the dark-skinned males in the Long Island area who were traveling Southern State Parkway or the vicinity, whatever, coming to and fro the city proper. How many people's lives was he endangering with this cockamamie bullshit story? But knew the story would at least fly initially because the criminality and the assumed inherent dangerousness of black males is widely accepted. And this is how police, in fact, operate their practices, right? Racial profiling has never stopped in being in existence. It gets called out here and there. It gets occasionally taken to court. Does it ever go away as a practice? No, not never. Do you think the New York State troopers are going to reveal to us the number of black males or dark-skinned men who had the unfortunate coincidence of also driving black Dodge Chargers? How many people did you pull over? Were any of them brutalized? Did any of them have their civil rights or constitutional rights violated? In the search for this fictitious person who was purported to have shot the state trooper, well, that shit didn't happen. This nigga probably shot himself. Yes, nigga, put his ass in the psych hospital because, yeah, you got to be crazy to do that shit. Howsomever, he's a criminal. In my opinion, lock him up. Put his ass right in fucking jail. When you make a false police report, that is a criminal offense. How come he hasn't been charged? I'm assuming because they assume, authorities now assume, that maybe his crimes go deeper. And given his lineage, given, let's talk about the fathers. What about the fathers? What happens when your father is a corrupt, criminal ass, coke dealing cop? What happens to the child, to the son? Doomed. But not discouraged from following in his father's footsteps. We will keep an eye on young Thomas Macia Jr. of the New York State Troopers, even though he's given up his gun and his badge. I didn't hear them say he wasn't a cop no more. They said he didn't have police powers. I didn't hear him say he got fired. So there's that. So yeah, that's my roundup for Look at the Whites. But I wanted to leave you guys with a couple of things here. A lot of people, well, hold on. Let me say what's up. What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much. Hopefully you guys are hitting the like button. I love y'all to pieces. You know this. I apologize for, not shouting out all the folks as I ought to be shouting them out, but my real ones know. By the way, don't forget, join us tomorrow, Saturday on November the 9th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. Join us for the November Around the Fire Disability Support Sesh and Chat. Love and kudos and credits goes to Learn Life Abby, Anna Hart, Mama Lorraine, Swear Fares. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to Holly Horn. Shout out to all the people that come through and show up. What's up, Kofi? What's up, Big Country? You know what I'm saying? What's up, the Vesper X? What's up to all the folks that come through? Court, Latif, a lot of folks come through to the support sessions, and we appreciate it. Shout out to Afra. I think Abby, if you, I'm still down to do the estate planning stuff because I think it's all very important. And listen, if you are a person of whatever means, it doesn't matter if you got a little money, no money, or a lot of money. I can't, though, if you have a lot of money and you haven't ran us a lot of money, that's why I assume that my viewers are not, I know that we are working class and disabled folks. I know we ain't got no money. Cause I'm like, if any of y'all did got money, y'all was holding out. And I anyway, let me shut up. I'm about to get on my Kamau here. Let me chill out. Estate planning sounds like some shit for old folks and niggas with property. And let me assure you, you do not need any of those things to engage in estate planning. And it'd be also, just for clarity's sake, we're not selling you anything. We're not advising nobody to go do fucking nothing, but about having your paperwork in order. Okay. Even if you don't have any property, to the extent you have a will or a trust or anything like that, you need a power of attorney in place. You need to have an advanced medical directive in place, especially if you are disabled. You want to make sure that should something happen to you, that people making the decisions on your behalf as it pertains to your care and your well-being are not making decisions that you don't want them to fucking make. Okay. And unfortunately, we may all find ourselves in a position one day where we are not able to speak and articulate what our wants are, what our desires are, what we want to happen for ourselves. So it would behoove us to have this information. Well, number one, be aware that you need this shit in place, but also figure out, how to go about doing those things. Again, I'm a big believer in life insurance. Hello. Yeah. How much can I get for $20 a month? You know what I'm saying? I even understand, I ain't got 20 extra dollars, Kim, at the end of the month. I hear you. I hear that. Well, we got to figure out what's the affordable life insurance or whatever the fuck, because ultimately we don't want to leave our folks, be it your parents, your children, your extended family. You don't want to leave people scrambling about what to do with you, either when you get sick or die and shit. So anyway, it's a grown people's conversation, but I assure you, if you are adult years old, this ain't just auntie, uncle, mama and daddy, grandma and granddad discussions. Young people, this is for you too. Okay? Because guess what? We all got to operate. Anyway, hold on. Let me get to my point. So anyway, so that's going to be, so Abby, if that's the direction we wanted to continue with this weekend's support session, we can do that, or we can do whatever y'all feel like doing. So anyway, look on the community section of the channel tomorrow morning, midday. I will have the link up there. I think I'll also have it on Patreon as well. For some reason, Patreon logged me out of the app on my phone, which was stupid, and I don't like it. But anyway, regardless. So anyway, it'll be around. You can find the fucking link. We'll put it up there. So join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, for the November Around the Fire Disability Support Sesh. Yeah, so thanks to Anna so much for your super chat support reminder for that, Anna Hart. So let me hurry up and get on this joint so I can turn Will loose. But this is also very important also, as we are looking at a Trump presidency dead in the face, second Trump term dead in the face. Just a reminder that we already live under fascism under President Biden and under President Trump, that fascism will continue and perhaps even accelerate depending on the issue or the target group. Okay. Do me a favor, everybody. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Shout out to everyone that's watching us on Twitch also. So there's a couple things I just wanted to say here. If people are that upset and that concerned over the so-called rise in fascism now that Trump has been reelected historically to office, even though there's nothing historical about a mediocre white falling and failing upwards, if you know, howsomever. How are you going to survive this? Because that part is not a game. And quite frankly, Trump or Kamala, we need to have this talk anyway. So I've seen people, especially disgruntled Kamala supporters talk about making the country pay, or not making the country pay, but making their displeasure about the outcome of the results felt. Okay. And some have proposed a Black Friday boycott, which is not new, though I am a little bit encouraged at the uh, enthusiasm or the zeal around it this time and who it's coming from. It is coming from Black women, it is coming from Black folks upset about the Kamala loss, which I listen, I don't give a fuck why they mad. The fact that y'all actually talking about doing some direct action is great, right? Or maybe is that indirect action actually? Is a economic shopping boycott? Is that direct or indirect? Regardless, I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think it's something that's long overdue. And truthfully, it's something that we need to be doing each and every Black Friday, because corporations, retailers, and the stock market rely heavily on these fourth quarter earnings and sales reports and projections and what they're able to accomplish. I can't remember what one, and I can't say if this is accurate or not, but I'll say the number, but go verify for yourselves. Did I hear that it's estimated to bring in 75 billion? That can't be right. For a Black Friday weekend sales, and this is Black Friday, this is cumulative between Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and whatever the fuck, right? Multi-billions, let's safely say that. If every person that voted for Kamala decided to participate in a Black Friday boycott of all retail sales, though some caveats that have been offered are, or exceptions can be for supporting Black-owned businesses. And I think that's the only exception I've seen, actually. Like, the people that are talking about this, like, listen, you can support Black-owned business, but no, don't go to Walmart, don't go to Target, don't go to Best Buy, don't get on Wayfair, don't get on Amazon. I said, I think that's brilliant. And I think it'll give people who feel angry about this presidential loss an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is, literally. Like, are you really pissed off in America, or were you just pissed off on Wednesday? and by the time Black Friday or roll around in a couple weeks, you be over that shit, because your child wants the new fucking PS20 and shit, and they want the new J's, and mama or daddy, I need a da. You told me if I got a good report card, I would get a fucking XYZ. Are people, even Black people, even are people that are so addicted to consumerism, right? Are people that have also now made their children addicted to the same consumerism. Are y'all really ready to forego those spectacular Black Friday deep discounts and deals? 30% off, 50% off. You sure you're going to pass that up in order to make an economic demand, or rather, take an economic stand because of how you feel politically? I doubt it. I doubt many, if any, of those Kamala supporters are willing to make any sort of personal sacrifice to express how they felt about Kamala's defeat. Because this is something we should be doing anyway. We, as Black folks especially, should not be participating in all the Black Friday consumerism. But because we have been placated by America, we are led to believe that simply because we are not in chains, that we are free. We are led to believe because we can spend hundreds of dollars on a gaming system for our children, that we are somehow free. We are led to believe that, if we don't participate in this American material hyper consumer consumption that is simultaneously devastating for us economically, because a lot of people take out debt in order to achieve these Black Friday deals or to seize upon them. But it's also detrimental to the environment, period, point blank. Okay. All of these things use materials and raw materials, minerals, lithium and all that shit shit that is extracted in not sustainable ways and labor where these places have their raw materials being extracted from, these people are not properly compensated and they usually have the environment fucked up in its wake, right? So anyway, we shouldn't be participating in shit any fucking way. But do you think the Cop Mala supporters are actually going to stick to that? I say nay, because these are bougie niggas, okay? And what do bougie niggas love? Shit. Yes, things. They love shiny things. They love Gucci belts. They're gonna be right at the outlets, giving America all their money back. Oh, Cop Mala lost, nigga. That was 2 weeks ago. They got these. Do you see this Ferragamo? Hold on. Oh, they got the 70-inch flat screen on sale. Oh, my son will love this in his room. Yeah, y'all not gonna be mad about that shit for long. Anyway, so we'll see. Black Friday economic boycott. Would love to see it if it happens. The bougies, I don't believe that they're gonna do that because they're too concerned. So anyway, that's one way. If you want to fucking do some lightweight resistance, that is something to do. But also when it comes to survival, like again, Trump, Cop Mala, really doesn't matter who would have been elected. We still need to be taking similar steps. I wanted to say something about the guarding and protection of your personal data and of that of your family, and particularly your children. Expect law enforcement to get ramped up and ramped down. It's weird. I know Trump hates the FBI, but he claims to stand with cops. So I don't know if the FBI is about to get more funding, less funding. I don't know what's about to happen, to be honest. I do know this. Let me say this real quick before I get into the guarding of your personal data and your children's and your family's data. Remember Angela Alsobrooks, the first now who is going to be the senator elect from Maryland, the first black person, period, definitely first black woman to ever be elected senator in the state of Maryland. Okay. Her current job is county executive, Prince George's County. She and Governor Melonhead Westmore, the first black governor of Maryland, all these first blacks, Jesus, what I tell y'all, I've been warning y'all about them first blacks. Okay, never trust, nigga, that's the first black anything. Anyway, her and Westmore stood so strong on the fact that the FBI headquarters is coming to Prince George's County. This is a multi-billion-dollar project expected to bring thousands of jobs, temporary jobs to I don't give a fuck. Right? I'm against it, period. I don't want the FBI. FBI don't deserve fucking nothing. Guess what? So, okay. So it was some controversy as to whether or not the headquarters were coming to PG County or coming to Northern Virginia. The two senators from Virginia, Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, said, wait a second, we don't agree with this process. Actually, let's have the Inspector General's office review or whatever. We don't think this process was fair. Being white, okay? Like they didn't dig the shit. They said, wait a minute, we are white men. We actually can do something about this. So they have expressed their opposition. Now that Trump has been elected and that the whole of Congress is controlled by Republicans, the likes of Matt Gaetz and all them fuckers who themselves also can't stand the FBI. Sometimes the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't think that FBI headquarters is coming to Maryland, beloved. I do not think Trump or a Republican-controlled Congress is going to authorize the funds or the budget for such a project. Even though some of the funds have already been authorized, these conservatives keep holding up the funding. Great. The current FBI building, which is downtown at 9th and E Streets Northwest, reportedly to be rat-infested. Ceiling is caving in on the heads of the employees. I say they should stay right there. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Anyway, back to the seizing of your personal data really quick. Regardless, we are living in an increased of a surveillance state, a speech repression state where any opposition to the empire from whatever spectrum, I suppose, is being closely monitored and watched. What can you do? Well, first of all, make sure that your phone, your smart device, your smartphone, your tablet, make sure your lock screen has a code, not your biometric, not your biometric data, not your retina scan, not your fucking fingerprint, not your thumbprint. Put a fucking lock code on your shit. So if you get fucked with by the police, they cannot compel you to unlock your phone if it has a code. If it can be opened or unlocked via eye scan or a fingerprint, they can make you unlock your shit. So act like you know and be smart out here, okay? You don't want Apple or Android or whoever having your biometric data any fucking way. So let's not do that. Let's try to play the game a little smart out here. Also, I was watching one cybersecurity creator on TikTok, and they were also suggesting to deactivate the preview notifications on your phone, because apparently those notifications are not encrypted and they can be monitored, I suppose, by either third party or government surveillance or law enforcement surveillance or whatever. So do that. If you are female, okay? If you menstruate, if you ovulate, and if you have a period tracker on any of your phones or any of your devices, delete them shits immediately. Uninstall them from your smartphone immediately, or feed it bogus information, okay? For women that live in abortion restrictive states, regardless of whether or not a nationwide federal ban of abortion at 15 weeks or some other time period is passed or even entertained, excuse me, these red states and these white men running these red states are going extra hard on compelling people to have babies, to force pregnancy, okay? I don't know that they won't surveil or fuck a search warrant to access your period or ovulation data to your phone. All they have to do is literally buy the shit. If any of the period tracking apps that you use have it so that they can and will sell their information to a third party, the government or federal or state governments doesn't have to get a search warrant to access that information. They can just buy that shit. Okay? And maybe do some sleuthing to figure out who this data belongs to. So if you're going to use one, which I discourage you doing, feed it bogus shit or whatever, but don't use them shits, because that's the last thing we need to be doing is supplying data. And you need to tell your daughters this as well, okay? We don't give period data, we don't give ovulation data to the cloud or to phone applications, okay? Because we don't know who that information is going to be used by, okay? There is that. So conversely, women who menstruate and girls, you're gonna, and this is for men also, because I know we have single dads out here. Y'all are gonna have to teach your daughters how to look out for their period without using the phone, okay? Most periods come every 28 days. The first day you get your period, that is day 1. So you start counting from there. Today's Friday, November the 8th. I got my period today, day 1. Saturday on the 9th, that's day 2. Count 28 days. That is when you expect your next period, okay? Everybody's period is different. Not everybody's cycle is 28 days. It can vary backward, less, more. Some people have irregular periods. It's good to know this information anyway for your own self-awareness about how your body works. And you should absolutely be encouraging your daughters to know this and to be able to track this independent of a period tracking app, especially if they live in abortion restrictive states, okay, which is half the country. What's the other thing? If you plan to engage in mutual aid or direct action, doing any sort of communications or maybe even organizing around that, maybe don't do that over iMessage. Maybe don't do that over Facebook Messenger. maybe consider like an app that has end-to-end encryption, such as Signal, or there are others I believe out there. If you plan on engaging in work that you know is going to go counter to the morals and, I guess, stated policies or intended policies of the coming administration, um act like act like you got good sense out here. Don't do everything over the fucking airwaves all willy-nilly like niggas ain't watching. Okay, don't do that shit in the fucking DMs. You know what I mean? If you find a community of people or just some individuals that are on the same page as you, y'all can chat via Signal. Okay, WhatsApp, not the move, kids. WhatsApp is a Facebook product. Remember that. What's some of the other things that we need to do? You know, as it relates, hold on, let me go back to the birth control thing here real quick, or the abortion issue. This is actually going to be a very serious time for young women and women as a whole, but young women in particular. Um, the availability of over-the-counter contraceptives or prescription contraceptives or abortion medication for those that are able to have a medical abortion or a pill, what's the word I'm looking for? You guys know what I'm talking about, where you take the pill, not the pill, not the birth control pill, but the abortion pill, right? And women's ability to get those prescriptions sent to them in the mail. These things are about to be rolled back quickly at the state level. Okay. I had an idea that I wanted to throw out there. Maybe there's some groups already doing this. But I like to phrase this in hypotheticals because I don't know if what I'm thinking of is even currently legal or perhaps in the future could be made illegal. So let me say this in hypotheticals. So hypothetically speaking, an old bag such as myself, who does not have motherhood on the horizon, but I still get my period and a beard. So unfair. But anyway, so hypothetically speaking, what if I were to go to my gynecologist and get a birth control prescription, but not take the birth control, but instead stockpile it and send it to a person or persons who live in a birth control restrictive state. Maybe there is some sort of underground process, as I just talk shit about doing shit above ground. But I got to voice out my ideas here. Hold on. So and I don't even know what if I'm saying is illegal, but I'm saying this hypothetically speaking. So don't use this against me in court. But my point is, we got to get creative out here, y'all. There's going to be young women and by extension young men who are going to be compelled into parenthood. Why? Because their state doesn't offer birth control. It also doesn't offer sex education. It encourages abstinence only, which is such a ridiculous, just such a ridiculous policy to tell to teenagers that, oh, y'all shouldn't be. Of course, they shouldn't be having sex. Guess what? When you was a teenager, you shouldn't have been having sex. Guess what? When your grandparents was teenagers, they also shouldn't have been having sex. But guess what? Everybody across generations, boomers, Xers, millennials, Zers, alphas are going to be and have been hunching in their teens. So please, okay, I know those are your little angels and babies, okay? And you might think that 10 or 11, even 9 is too young to be having sex education conversations. You would be deeply mistaken. Because whether or not you are having these conversations with your children directly, your children are having these conversations with their peers, okay? And they are likely deeply miseducated and uneducated about how procreation works, okay? Even if they themselves are not engaging in any sexual activity, kids talk about sex because they're exposed to it. Is America. How could they not be exposed to it? Of course they are. So you need to be having these conversations about sex, about how babies are made, about how to prevent pregnancy, about also how to prevent the transmission of sexually transmitted infections. Like these are all conversations that parents cannot afford to leave up to the state or to put their heads in the sand behind. This could be life and death. And even if it's not literal above ground, below ground life and death, this could mean the difference in the quality of the life of your child, who will eventually become an adult and have to live with the consequences of decisions they made as teenagers. Why? Because they didn't have access to the resources to prevent this. So if you live in a state where ain't no abortion past 6 weeks, ain't no abortion past 8 weeks, you need to be showing your daughters and your sons how to use condoms. Okay? If they can't get birth control over the counter without a parent's permission, it's time to get out the cucumbers and the rubbers. Okay? And you need to explain to them why condom usage is very important, or oral contraceptive usage is important. Again, life and death, quality of life is at stake. So, and also, we as people, as working class people, particularly as Black people, and even as Black women and girls, we need to operate out here like we live in a country that doesn't have universal health care. Single hetero women, single non-binary people who have sex with men. Y'all better stop fucking playing out here, okay? Y'all better stop fucking playing, okay? Lay up with that nigga with no condom all you want to. Lay up with that nigga with no condom and no birth control all the fuck you want to. It's gonna be you taking care of that baby. It's gonna be you. God forbid, perhaps having a difficult pregnancy, even if you wanted to have the baby. What if you have a difficult pregnancy? What if you start to miscarry? You live in a state where you don't have access to health care. Abortion is health care. Women in this country, and half the states in this country, are being denied health care. You better take pregnancy very seriously, planned or unplanned. You better take your risk factors into consideration very fucking seriously. Because pregnancy is killing women anyway. The Black maternal mortality rate for Black women, 3 times higher, 4 times higher in this country than it is for white women. And let me say, and this goes out to Black fathers. Tell your sons this also. Ain't no abortion for your high school girlfriend, son. Ain't no abortion. The nearest state where the abortion is 700 miles away, 1,000 miles away. You got 700 and 1,000 miles away from the abortion clinic money? Teen son? Absolutely not. You better be talking to your boys same way as you're talking to your daughters. And you cannot rely on the state, literally the state, to educate your child about reproductive processes. You got to tell the kids how the babies are born. You got to show them the pictures of the ZERP. HSV 1 and 2, the ZERP, okay? Not saying to discourage the children. Well, yes, discourage the children from sex for my boys. But the teenagers, okay? Let's just be realistic here. The teens, well, I don't know. These kids are scared of they're afraid of genitals. I don't know. Maybe they're not having sex, but whatever. You better talk to them as though they are. And you better talk to them as though abortion is not available for them, not available for your daughter, not available for your son if he knocks up somebody else's daughter. Okay? Be serious about what we're dealing with here. And educate and inform yourself accordingly. And if there are people that, for example, who live in blue states or states where access to contraceptives, oral contraceptive is easy peasy. And even if that's not your jam, like myself, consider getting a birth control contraceptive. Get a prescription and just stockpile that shit. And maybe, some intrepid social justice engineer can figure out how to connect women with unused oral contraceptive prescription to women who don't have access to those prescriptions. in states where it's difficult or challenging to get them. So, and by the way, part of the plan here for Trump is to Trump and Elon Musk and the like, they actually want to trap your sons into low-paying jobs to force them to care for the children that they are going to be mandated to have because of abortion restrictions. And there's a lot of speculation that, wage slavery, even those for whatever you think it is now, that it could absolutely get worse. As Trump and the Republicans claim to do mass deportations, what job sectors are going to be feeling the most effects from those deportations if they come to pass? Service industry, construction, contracting, agriculture, farm work. And if they get rid of millions of people, those either the food is going to rot in the fields, which is very likely, the homes are going to get unmaintained and unbuilt, which is also very likely, or they're going to try to compel Chad or Declan. They're going to try to compel some of these young male whites to go get them jobs, go get your jobs back. Or they're going to try to convince your son, Tayshawn. They're trying to get Tayshawn, but little do they know, 20-year-old Chad and 20-year-old Tayshawn are not interested in working. Good luck getting them into the motherfucking meat packing plant. But that's the point. But if Chad and Tayshawn knock up their girlfriends, Chad and Tayshawn are absolutely going to be at the meat packing plant to take that factory job vacated by the undocumented migrant who was rounded up in Trump's mass deportation scheme. This is it's nasty work. I'm not going to hold you. You know what I'm saying? The difference between Trump and Kamala is Trump is going to implement this shit fast. Kamala and the Democrats was going to take it a little slower, but it was still coming regardless. So be ready for all of these different scenarios and try to enlighten and inform your community, your peers, your family, your loved ones. It's going to be tough times. It's not going to be a cakewalk here. I think we are in for a perilous 4 years, but truthfully, I think we were in for a perilous 4 years anyway. And keep in mind, 2026 marks the 250th birthday of America. I don't know if America's going to make it, which is not necessarily anything to be sad or upset about. America has done quite enough to the planet. Maybe it's time for America to go night-night. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for sticking with me on an extra long episode of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Please support us materially if you're able to. $ BIDWKB on Cash App, at BIDWKB on Venmo, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, or you could join us on Patreon, patreon.com/BIDWKB. I'm very grateful to the patrons, or everyone, and everyone that runs the super chats, etc. You guys know I'm very appreciative of all the support, the free support, showing up in the chat. Give us a like on the video if you haven't done so already. I certainly appreciate it. Will, do we have any other acknowledgments before we sign off?
Yes. We have a super chat from Angela Walker. Thank you for that.
Hey, Angela, oh shit! See, y'all be making me feel good when the real come in. I'm like, oh shit, real recognize real. Shout out to Angela Walker. Let's go.
All right, and yes, thank you, Angela Walker. Arlene Chambers. Hey Kim, I don't think we should participate in Black Friday shopping, etc. in general. I voted third party. And thank you for your super chat.
Thank you.
And cynical search signal Zionist is not looking like a win.
Oh, thank you for that, cynical. I appreciate that. Listen, thank you, Will. Listen, it's gonna be hard for us to find all the right specific places for us to kind of talk our talk and do the work, right? So thank you so much for that. I will be a bit of I will look into Signal more. But I also encourage y'all to look up end-to-end encrypted messaging and the services or maybe applications that offer that, because we got to be able to talk low key a little bit. So anyway, thank you all so much. Thank you so much to my mods. What's up, Courtney? What's up, Latif? What is going on, Abby, Tyler, Afraid Not? What's up, Dee Dee Northern Witch on Twitch? Rosalba with us on Twitch. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Wholesale 2 pieces to Will and Molly. Thank you so much for all you do. And gang, I will see you back here Tuesday. Please don't forget Black Liberation Media. Subscribe, follow, join Saturdays What Renee, 11 a.m. Eastern, Saturday. Don't forget to rock with the Ear Doctor Sunday evening, I think 7 p.m. So anyway, we appreciate all the folks that double dip, as it were, here and thither and all the places. So we love you guys to pieces. Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye, man. Keep hope alive. Y'all gonna be all right.